Aneurism 4, as we know by now, is a very chaotic game. The world itself is very deranged, both in its aesthetics and what you'll encounter from other players. That's beautiful. You'll see fires burning on the streets, players just mindlessly beating on each other, or the Scum, the anarchists of the game, planning another terrorist attack, or even doing so.
It does anything. It'll explode if you go and put it in like a thing. Oh shit. That guy has like a... Damn, that did fucking... Oh shit.
But in the madness, who keeps the order? That's where the Cortex come in, the lawmen of Aneurism 4. Who are obviously very inspired from Half-Life's Combine, or if you want to take it a step further, the limitators of the Cortex kinda look like Frank Horrigan from Fallout 2, one of the longest boss fights I've ever had to face in a video game. You don't get to start playing as the Cortex though. Everyone starts off as a prole, the bottom rung of the server's food chain. With nothing but desperation, you're forced into grinding, mining, laundry, factory shifts, endless labor for a system that doesn't care. But eventually, after hoarding enough amnesites, basically the game's leveling up system, each different role or fate costs a certain amount of amnesites. And after you got enough, you can finally buy your way into the Cortex. And that's when the game shifts. For the first time, you hold real power, defend the server from the rot, or abuse your authority like so many before you. Or you can also play as a corpseman, the doctors of Aneurism 4. Before we get into the different career paths you can take, whether in the cult faction known as the Scum or the law enforcement, the Cortex, I recommend checking out my other Aneurism 4 video if you're completely new. That one gives a more in-depth introduction into this doomed society. And make sure to like and subscribe, or else you'll have your rations stolen.
Oh no!
But what exactly is the Cortex? On the surface, they're just like ordinary cops you see roaming on the streets, doing patrols.
How many to the head did that take? What?
But Cortex doesn't just refer to law enforcement. It's the entire totalitarian government that governs the city, relying on heavy automation to keep citizens working without pause. The city itself is designed to run like a hamster on a wheel, or as the splash screen that starts up when you first play as a prole puts it, every person is just another cog in the machine. The Cortex isn't only interested in mass producing supplies and weapons, like nukes during wartime. They're equally concerned with making sure the rot never spreads. Many players see the rot as a symbol of rebellion against authority, a rejection of a system built on control and disregard for its people. That's why the Scum faction embraces the rot. And if you're working under the Cortex, your job is to suppress the Scum with bullets. Just make sure not to spray any friendlies with stray bullets. The Cortex manages Aneurism 4 like the Hunger Games. I know, it's a really great analogy. They divide the city's production and every aspect of life through specialized ministries. The Ministry of Possession and Assets manages leases for player-owned property, making sure citizens renew before expiration. Like if you own the club or the casino or any apartment, you have to constantly renew your lease after every 48 hours. You can pay before that 48 hours is up though, but only halfway through that time. And if you also wanted to live out your dreams of being a merchant, you can also purchase a shop. The ministry also owns this property, making sure you pay your lease on time. And if you don't, everything you own in the shop is gone. So if you're using the shop to store any valuable goods, make sure to pay that lease on time. The Ministry of Time is the loudest voice, literally, responsible for non-stop propaganda blasting from telescreens seen throughout the map, urging workers to stay productive and resist Scum influence. And also the voice actors that do these announcements are really passionate. I really love hearing their voices.
Citizens of Aneurism 4, hear the voice of the Cortex. The true nature of man is to serve a greater cause, to provide for the collective strength of our society. Proles.
The Cortex Ministry of Abundance owns the ration factory and is in charge of managing supplies and food within Aneurism 4.
What is going on? And then we just go. go.
Got it. They own the civil center, where rations are handed out to its citizens, and also the distillery, where alcohol is produced. I couldn't find anywhere online where it specifically said that this ministry owns the greenhouse, where the ingredients for alcohol is grown at, but I think it's very obvious that the Ministry of Abundance owns this greenhouse. And then there's the PLF, or the People's Labor Force. While not being called a ministry, it's possibly the most powerful arm of the Cortex in terms of production. They manage the most basic jobs you'll do in Aneurism 4, and where you'll see a majority of players at, such as the laundromat or the mines. So where do the Cortex officers themselves fit into this machine? It's never made explicit whether there's some sort of military police or just basic cops, but given the fact that limitators stroll around with LMGs and sometimes even carrying combat juice, a performance enhancing steroid-like juice that's only available to the Cortex. These Cortex officers are far beyond ordinary cops. Either they're part of a militarized state, or Aneurism 4 has taken totalitarianism so far that even the lowest officers are heavily armored, altered with cybernetics, and no longer fully human. And if rumors are to be believed, the word on the street is that limitators are missing a certain part of their body. So after getting enough amnesites either from wartime
Honest pay for honest work.
working at the distillery or the mines, you begin wandering the street looking where to become an officer, and then you finally stumble upon the Nexus. As stated by the Aneurism wiki, where I'll get most of my information from, in medical terms, Cortex is an outermost part of an organ or body part, such as the cerebrum or adrenal gland. The cerebral cortex is responsible for carrying out essential functions, like thinking, learning, reasoning, or problem solving, which is exactly what the Cortex does in Aneurism 4. They manage the city, they overlook every assets, every production, making sure that every cog in the machine runs smoothly. And the Cortex Nexus basically is the hub of the map, for the Cortex officers at least. Here you'll find the controller fate or role, and you'll also find the limitator, which is only accessible to players who are already controllers. It's also useful if you want to make a quick getaway to another area of the map. So if you're at the docks and you hear on the radio that there are scum in wartime, you can quickly get to wartime by cutting through the Nexus, instead of taking the detour through Mayland Plaza. And here's the catch about the Cortex Nexus: if you try walking in as anything other than the Cortex, you'll be shredded instantly by the automated turret guarding the entrance. Unless of course you're reckless enough to rush the Nexus with a mob of proles. The turret can mow you all down at once. Otherwise, the only way to access the controller role is through death, throwing yourself into fire, stepping into an incinerator, or letting the cops put you down. You don't have to endure some brutal boot camp. All it really takes is 8 amnesites to play the role of the controller. Their introduction screen lays it all out. I must eradicate contraband, I must execute limits, I must maintain order, and finally I must fight the rot. And depending on how long you survive as a controller, you'll probably end up doing all of these things, if you don't get beaten by a mob of proles. Yeah.
You're a little too good at this.
I love doing this.
That's a problem.
Why?
Why would you enjoy this? I do this to survive. Oh god. Thank you, your name.
Your day usually begins with patrols, the easiest way to keep the streets somewhat safe.
Excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me.
Oh my god, I was gonna steal laundry.
Patrols are started at the city's newer consoles, terminals only accessible to Cortex roles. They let you initiate patrols and check the server's rot level. Sure, you could just refresh the server page or look at the neurostabilizer to see the rot level, but using the neuro console feels more immersive, a nice little touch. And trust me, once rot hits its maximum percentage on the server, it's the end of the world. It's total chaos outside.
Higher up. Okay, I complained about this one because he killed me for no good reason. I was just trying to
Or any
I
left.
think I was done complaining. Okay, I'm sick of you motherfuckers coming onto the streets, doing all this bullshit.
Wanna go, like, do we go door kicking or what?
And the worst or best part of it is that the server gets a full reset, meaning every bit of your progress is gone. And that's basically Aneurism 4's endgame. And as the Cortex, it's your role to prevent it. Two other key features on the newer console are active commendations and limitations on other players. Commendations are given out by the Cortex to reward others for their work.
One more.
And if there are multiple commendations on one player given by other Cortex players, the player that has the commendation will get a super high payout. And the same thing goes for the Cortex officers who commended that player. So you'll both get something in return for giving that guy a commendation.
Attention, citizens! A pay cycle has commenced!
But it's not that simple. Because of that player who has a commendation commits a crime later and gets put on a limit, your credibility as an officer takes a hit, and you lose 2 amnesites. So make sure that the player who's getting the commendation is a good apple and is anti-rot. Then there are limits. Players marked for death after committing crimes, such as hitting another officer even if it was on accident, or murdering another player in the neutral or Cortex faction for any unjustified reasons. Those players who commit such crimes will be put on a limitation. And if you're playing on a Scum fate, you'll have a forever limitation on you. It does not expire. And if you're playing as a Cortex, you just automatically kill limitations. Of course, you can take a more measured approach. Ask questions first and then shoot later. Sometimes accidents do happen. And of course, in a game like Aneurism 4, this system can be abused, which we'll talk about later. I'm looking at you, limit baiters. One time while playing as a corpseman, I was in a group of other corpsemen. We were going around asking paroles if we could hit them and then heal them. An easy way to grind some amnesite progression. Caught up in the moment, I accidentally killed a parole who was already low on health. Instantly, I got a limitation order placed on me and lost 5 amnesites.
Monster was in our hearts the whole time, bro. No, so why did you kill him?
Another parole of all people told me to go hide, and I knew the perfect spot and laid low until the limitation order on me expired. And just like that, I got away with murder, which is honestly a pretty common practice in the city of Aneurism 4. According to the wiki, limitation orders on players last about 5 minutes, but in game it feels way longer than that. Now that's out of the way and you've initiated your patrol, you'll notice a small waypoint on your HUD. It can be a little hard to see, but it marks the next neural console you'll need to reach to register your patrol. And this is where one of the game's many grinds kicks in. Thankfully, with the recent Midnight Market update, patrol rewards were buffed from a measly 10% per run to 20%, making this a semi-viable way to earn amnesites. Still, if grinding is your main goal, you'll quickly realize how tedious running back and forth between consoles gets. Luckily, if you're willing to spend some credits, stimulants can make this whole thing much easier. Unlike the real world where performance enhancers require prescriptions, Aneurism 4 embraces them to boost both citizens and productivity. These stimulants are produced by corpsemen. Corpsemen are tasked with creating and delivering parcels to farm distributors. The most important parcels are the stimulant parcel, the blood parcel, the sanity parcel, and the parasite parcel. And there's also a parcel that doesn't currently have a use, and that's the anti-rad parcel, which produces radiobiotics and radiomitigants. Perhaps in a future update, we'll see that the nukes that drop during wartime actually leave traces of radiation, and then maybe we'll see that the anti-rad parcel actually has a use. Much like how Radaway and Rad-X works in the Fallout video games. The 2 key stimulants for patrols are Achilles heel and epinephrine, and yes, I do mispronounce epinephrine a lot. Much like how people call parole, short for proletariat, a parole. Anyways, you'll find all these drugs in the pharmacility, basically the vending hub for all your medicinal needs. Besides stimulants, you can also pick up antibacterium here. It's useful for clearing up parasites you might have picked up, eating whatever food you might have found randomly on the street, or drinking water from the tap. And for the constant going back and forth for patrols, epinephrine is your go-to. It boosts speed and prevents stamina drain for a while. So just pop one of these and suddenly you're sprinting between neuro consoles, too fast to even acknowledge complaints from paroles or other needy citizens, all in the name of your amnesite grind. It's also funny seeing a huge limitator run around in third person with unlimited stamina.
Bro, you fucking do that pigeon-toed walk like Tommy Pickles from the Rugrats.
It's hilarious with the baton. Achilles heel, on the other hand, also gives you a speed boost, plus the ability to carry more weight, albeit temporarily. While out on patrol, you'll run into plenty of things.
We must kill
mostly other Cortex officers grinding just like you, running back and forth between newer consoles. Patrols are open to all Cortex roles, and they're also a great excuse to move across the map and see what's happening with other players. Where the real spectacle of Aneurism 4 comes from, player interaction. You'll witness the usual chaos, sometimes weird and sometimes routine. If you're lucky, you might catch a camera ping, marking someone with a limitation. Clear it out and earn some amnesty progression, and then continue with your patrol. It's a solid way to make sure you're constantly earning some amnesty progression. Although, if the same camera pings someone with a limitation over and over, and the Cortex tries to clear it repeatedly, they'll only earn amnesty for the one time that they initially do it, so you can't abuse the system. When one goes off, a good number of Cortex will usually radio in to sweep the area, either to deal with the scum or to figure out what triggers the alarm.
I'm getting my air back up, 1 second. How would I get Cortex? It'll take to change a light bulb. Get right here and then jump into it. I quit.
9 times out of 10, the limit has already fled, or it was just a scum using the camera as bait to lure out some easy kills. Combat in this game can be pretty fun, though I'll admit I'm not the best in firefights. Landing my shots is still hit or miss. Although I've had some luck with the standard pistol you get as a controller. It's nothing fancy, but its accuracy makes it reliable for headshots even at a distance. And headshots in this game are really deadly. And let's say that even if you are bad with aim, playing as a Cortex, if you do see a limitation on your screen, they'll be marked with the blue box. So theoretically, you can just shoot at that blue box and hope that you hit all your shots and that you don't hit anybody in the way. That's not a limitation. And here's the brutal truth about Aneurism 4 combat. If you're not on a stimulant, you'll probably lose a lot of gunfights. That's where another consumable from the farm facility comes in. Hemoblocker pills. They make you immune to bleeding. Without them, one bullet will leave you scrambling, bleeding out, fumbling for a bandage you already used, or running in circles for a doctor. With them, you got the upper hand. Your enemy bleeds out and you don't. For that reason alone, both Scum and Cortex are stock up on epinephrine and hemoblockers. They're really game changers in fights. Having unlimited stamina from epinephrine can make the enemy panic. You could just run away, recuperate, and shoot from a distance, or you can be a complete maniac and rush in and sprint towards your enemy, hoping all your shots take him out, and hoping that the hemoblockers are enough to keep you up. Of course, you can always just roll around with the numbers, keeping a heavy unit in the squad to tank most of the damage, and a corpseman for moral support. And then there's Kevlar, which gives you an insane damage resistance boost for an hour, and to actually equip it, you'll need to eat it, weirdly enough. Before the midnight update, Kevlar to me at least was a mystery. You'd usually have to track down a banker or a dealer who ordered it through their terminal, and then oftentimes they only had it very randomly. And now with the most recent update, all you have to do is find the night market. You'll know you'll see it when you see a chalk outline of a corpse and hear the muffled chatter from a desk. There you can order ammo, crafting materials, and of course Kevlar. Although the items and their prices fluctuate, I think based on the rot level. The most expensive I think I ever saw Kevlar for was like 500 credits, and the cheapest I think was 90 credits. So make sure you're constantly checking these, because Kevlar only for 90 credits is an absolute steal. Once you place an order, you'll get a number that you can pass to a banker or a dealer.
Look at his stance. He is waiting patiently. He's so nice.
He's just standing with his arms just stuck to his side.
Yeah.
I'm a law-abiding limitator.
8, 9, R, 3, 5, Y.
They'll fulfill it at the night market, and the items will be stashed somewhere on the map. Keep in mind though, most of this gear counts as contraband. If another Cortex for whatever reason decides to search you, you'll get hit with a limitation, even if you are a Cortex. Hopefully if this does happen, you run into someone who's reasonable and explains that it was just an accident, but sometimes it's just a power trip, and you're screwed. So after stacking up on your Kevlar stimulants in piles of patrols that you just done, you might have noticed something change on your player title. And here comes my best attempt at trying to explain the ranking up system that is exclusive to the Cortex and the Scum's rogue role. If you've opened up your inventory at the start of your controller playthrough, you've probably noticed that your title begins with C6. That number refers to both your role as a controller and your current rank. And as you play, every 5 amnesties you earn will increase your standing, though in this case, your number actually count goes down. So after collecting 5 amnesties, you'll drop down to C5 and then C4 and so on until you reach C1. Hitting rank rank C4 comes with a pretty decent reward for your efforts, which is access to new gear from the Cortex Armory and the Nexus. At this point, you can grab a shotgun called Arbiter, an SMG called the Conciliator,
Oh, fuck. I can't believe you've done this.
and something known as combat juice, basically a shot of pure adrenaline. I like how the previous weapons I mentioned have a very Halo-esque sounding to them. Meanwhile, combat juice is just combat juice. I don't have much experience with the shotgun, but the SMG is easily my favorite. It looks great and dumps a ton of bullets in just a few seconds. Of course, this can make for a lot of accidents, a lot of fragging, although I've seen a few other Cortex use the shotgun to headshot people instantly. I don't know why, but it's just extremely funny seeing a pro die so instantly to a headshot. Combat juice does give you a minor speed boost and some temporarily endurance, and mix it with epinephrine and you're zooming across the map. Although combat juice only lasts for a few seconds. The ideal time to use combat juice is right before a gunfight. One thing to note, you can't drop these weapons or the ammo crates you get. Even if you wanted to cause some chaos and give proles a gun, the game blocks it. After grinding away at endless patrols and keeping the city semi-safe, you might start to wonder, is there any way to get a raise and move up the ranks? The answer is yes, but it's an exclusive promotion only available to controllers, and it'll cost you a lot of amnesites, 17 to be exact. Hopefully you've been saving up, racking up on limitation kills, clearing out cameras, or doing the endless grind that is patrols, because this upgrade is worth it, and in my opinion looks super cool. Enter the Limitator.
You know who you're dealing with?
An absolute tank, towering over every other character model in the game, except of course the horrendous creature known as the Vomit Coffin. The Limitator is built for leading charges, boasting a base health of 325, compared to a controller's 150. For perspective, proles and other neutral roles only get 100 HP. Now picture yourself as a Limitator, with 325 health, layered with Kevlar for a hefty overshield. You're basically a walking fortress. Gameplay wise, the Limitator can do nearly everything a controller does.
We're winning, guys. Gangbang.
Oh, the train.
Patrols, clearing cameras, commanding citizens, but the big difference is in the presentation. You're stomping around in what's essentially a Fallout style power armor, or if you prefer, a deeper cut. Think the exoskeleton armor from the Stalker series, which there are quite a lot of Stalker references in this game. Or like I said earlier, these guys look like Frank Horrigan, and we'll talk about the LMG that the Limitators get after we cover our janitor friends in the Cortex, the one-eyed freaks. Those weird guys are Sanitars, and I'll admit, I'm a little bit jealous. Those guys get to wear a nice little beanie on top of their head. Sanitars can only be played by people who've already chosen the Liquidator fate, which basically makes them the janitors of Aneurism 4.
My boy's got his own ringtone.
Something I've covered previously, but to break it down for you, both they and Sanitars handle cleaning up cancer growths with a flamethrower, disposing of corpses, and repairing broken machinery like cameras, newer consoles, vending machines, and ration dispensers. Funnily enough, I didn't even realize ration dispensers could break when I first started playing. If there are no Sanitars or Liquidators online, and the ration dispenser goes down, the entire server can spiral. It's a clever tactic by the Scum. One quick raid to smash food dispensers, ATMs, or anything else is enough to plunge a low population server into chaos. With no rations, players are forced to spend credits on food, but if the ATMs are also destroyed, the whole economy grinds to a halt, leaving pros starving, fighting, and even eating each other. Thankfully for now, Sanitars and Liquidators are usually around to keep things running smoothly. If you're thinking about changing careers, there are two ways to become a Sanitar. The first is by starting as a Liquidator, which costs 6 amnesites. From there you can head to the Nexus, just not too far in, or the turret will take you out, and purchase the Sanitar upgrade for another 6 amnesites. The second method also begins with the Liquidator role, but this time you wait for an in-game event, like a Limitation Order, the Darkness, or Wartime. During these you can find a controller or a Limitator, and they'll either deputize you automatically, or you can simply ask. Alright, who wants to be deputized?
Me.
I'm up.
I can't deputize you, sorry Pearl.
Yo.
I'm here
Oh
now.
wow, I can do 2.
Wait, did you think you only got one? Oh,
Holy shit!
Double kill.
Okay.
I'll be honest, that's kind of not too surprising. You should have.
Yeah.
That was funny. You should definitely dive more.
Oh my god. Did you aim for their head?
Yeah.
How many hits does it take? Like 3?
That's what I like to call the post-burst.
It's just one of those days, feeling like a freight train. First one to complain, leaves with a blood stain.
This route is quicker and cheaper, since you only need to spend 6 amnesites instead of 12, and it gets you into the Cortex fates much faster. On top of that, you have all the perks of playing as any other Cortex roles, such as accessing the armory after reaching rank 4, doing patrols, clearing cameras, and killing limitations for amnesites. On top of that, you can repair machinery, burn cancer growths, all while racking up credits and amnesites pretty efficiently. Senators spawn in with a large repair kit, 2 small repair kits, and the usual Cortex gear, though noticeably without bandages. From what I've seen in Aneurism 4, Senators are often the most targeted Cortex role, even more than controllers or limitators. The reasons vary. Some pros lash out against the corruption of the city, while others may just want to help spread the rot. And if you're wondering, it usually takes 3 pickaxe swings to the head to drop any roll instantly, other than the limitator. But hey, since this is a Cortex video, you didn't hear that from me. And like I said earlier, playing as a Sanitar could earn you a decent chunk of amnesites pretty fast. Overall, it's one of the easier roles to grind. There's only one catch though. This position is often overcrowded with other Sanitars and Liquidators, doing the exact same thing, disposing of bodies and fixing machines, so work can be scarce on heavily populated servers. And before we head down a darker path, let's take a quick detour to talk about the weapons exclusive to the Limitators and Sanitars. The Limitators spawn in with an LMG called the Surma. Its accuracy is terrible, fitting for an LMG, but it gets the job done. According to the Aneurism 4 wiki, the weapons Cortex spawn in with and can get from the armory are biolinked only to Cortex DNA, meaning only Cortex fates can use them. The only exception being our controllers, who have gone rogue and joined the Scum. I've always liked these little lore tidbits we get in the game and from the devs. The theory is that they've transcended their humanity through genetic experiments during enlistment.
You look like a cut of fuckable meat, are you?
Which is a pretty nice trade for carrying around an LMG. And back to the LMG, if you're using it, make sure there are no friendlies in your line of fire. Accidental team kills get you limited, and since most players are desperate for amnesites, they'll shoot first and ask questions later. Always clear your line of sight before spraying. The controllers on the other hand spawn in with a pistol. It's accessible to other Cortex roles, so not quite as unique as the LMG or the Sanitar specialty weapon, the Brain Scorcher. And that name is just as cool as it sounds. This weapon doubles as a flamethrower for burning out cancer growths, and as a rifle. You can toggle between modes with a key press, but you can only use one mode at a time, so don't walk into a firefight with your flamethrower still on, or do if that's your kind of way of doing a battle. The name itself might even be a reference to the Brain Scorcher from the Stalker series, which is a reoccurring location in that series, which exactly does that. It scorches your brain. And if you're wondering about ammo, good news. All Cortex issued weapons use the same crates, or ammo boxes, so no need to hunt down different calibers, unlike the Scum, who have to craft specific ammo for their handmade guns. Now that we've covered the basics of what the Cortex can do, the last piece of the role is cleaning up the server and maintaining order. During limitation order events, you can raid the underground. Normally, the gates are locked, but during the limitation order event, you can go right in. You and a squad of Cortex can storm in, wipe out any Scum you find, and seize contraband like organs, crafted guns, or ammo. If you somehow get into the underground outside of a limitation order, you'll be limited. Keep in mind that spawning as Scum always comes with a limitation order by default. Limitation order events can occur if there is a sudden drop in rot levels. I also think if a server is close to rotting, and you get the display that the server will rot completely in 15 minutes, and somehow the Cortex stops it, a limitation order event will occur sometime soon. One time I was playing on a server where a limitation order event kept happening over and over. At the time, I thought the game itself was glitching, but it actually turns out from what I've heard on the radio was that there was someone abusing the smuggler's vent system. I guess there was a limitator who had a bunch of contraband and decided to put all that contraband into the smuggler's vent. Now I'm not completely certain or not if this actually does increase or decrease the rot level. I looked everywhere online and couldn't find anything for it, but it was completely absurd seeing the limitation order event notification go on over and over. And on this one server, I think it was Link at the time, it was pretty much infested with Cortex Cortex. And honestly, I'm not really much of a fan of exploiting that one glitch, because it just ruins the Scum experience. If Cortex are always storming the underground with LMGs, why even bother playing the Scum? The real appeal of Cortex versus Scum is that classic cops and robbers dynamic. Call me cringe for this one analogy, but like Batman and the Joker, the firefights and skirmishes while playing on either side are what make the game fun. But if one faction gets gutted or is underpowered, the loop gets boring pretty fast. I know that right now this video is technically a Cortex focused video, but I'll admit, the Warzone feel when the two sides clash is a real adrenaline rush. And one of the main reasons I keep going back to Aneurism 4, despite not being all that great at combat. Another feature unique to Cortex roles is the ability to breach property. Don't worry, you can't do this to just anyone's place. It only works if the owner is limited for some reason. For example, if someone bought an apartment or shop while playing as a neutral or Cortex role and later switched to a Scum fate, their lease still carries over, even past death. Now, while that person is a Scum fate, that means that their property becomes fair game. So if you're planning on playing as a Scum, make sure to move any valuables out of your apartment or store. I've overheard Cortex players bragging about finding stashes of contraband in Scum-owned apartments. Imagine grinding for hours, only to lose it all because of one careless mistake, which happens often in Aneurism 4. One thing I often hear on discussions online is that in Aneurism 4 you really can't get attached to anything, and that's probably the best advice when it comes to new players. You know, while doing laundry you could just have it stolen from you, or when getting your ration you can also get it stolen from you. But I think in an update they prevented this by adding a timer before someone else can grab your property. But still, you could get anything from you stolen even when using a crafting table. And this whole entire thing happened to me once where someone breached my place. I had a stockpile of machine trinkets, glue, and other crafting materials. I decided to test out the scumbag role, and after I died, I came back as a pro to check my place, only to find it completely emptied. I had become the one who had made that silly mistake. And of course, some Cortex players make a hobby of going door to door like some Mormons, checking every apartment to see which ones they can raid. It's part of the system, so I can't complain too much. But one thing I will complain about is limit baiting. Easily one of the most frustrating abuses of power or exploitation in the game, and something I honestly think needs patching. It makes the Cortex role even more corrupt. So sit down and gather around the campfire as I explain limit baiting as best as I can. It's when cops bait out a neutral role into accidentally hitting them. The moment that happens, the neutral role gets put into a limit, giving the Cortex a perfect excuse to gun them down. There's a few reasons they might do this. One, amnesites are probably running dry and they just want some quick easy work, albeit corrupt. Two, they're simply pretty much a majority of players you'll meet in Aneurism 4. One time while working in the mines as a prole, I was mining away at a piece of metal ore. I was just zoning out and just laboring for the city, and without any care in the world, a controller jumps right in front of me as I'm hitting the metal ore and I'm put on a limit, and a few seconds later I'm executed. And that was my reward for slaving away for the city of Aneurism 4. It's a pretty scummy practice, and the real scumbags of Aneurism 4 are limit baiters. However, there is another instance of this happening. During the wartime event, everyone's swinging screwdrivers at the crafting tables to build the nuke, and plenty of people get caught in the crossfire. Some though choose to be caught in it, the limit baiters. So when I spotted one Cortex pulling the limit baiting stunt over and over, I made sure to memorize his number, and the moment I had my chance, I took out my pickaxe. And remember, you only need 3 hits to anybody's head besides the limitators to kill them. So that's what I exactly did. I was already near max amnesty anyway, so why not help out my fellow proles by getting rid of one of the real scumbags of Aneurism 4, worse even than laundry leaves. And it's even worse when there's a limitator doing this, because you know they have a massive health pool. But one time every prole decided to just attack the limit baiting limitator. It took several attempts and a lot of dying from proles, but we eventually got him, and it was really funny seeing him instantly leave the game. But if you're sick of limit baiting and want the tables to turn, and you know that on the server you're playing on there are a lot of Cortex abusing limit baiting, there's a little trick you can use to make the Cortex possibly lose some amnesites, and that's body blocking.
That's not what common.
Oh no!
Whenever Cortex are firing their guns at any limits, they're most likely not checking their fire, as the only thought in their mind is getting a percentage earned towards an amnesite. So what people usually do if they hit the Cortex, they'll become a human shield for anything with a limit, scumbags, other paroles, or even the vomit coffin. And if you manage to catch a stray bullet, you've just given the Cortex a problem.
Oh shit!
From there, you can bleed out slowly, or speed things up by jumping into a fire, or even running into the Nexus turrets. Either way, the Cortex are responsible for your death, and possibly lose 5 amnesites.
Stop! You violated the law!
This system itself is pretty scummy, which is why I said earlier to only do it on servers where you know that the Cortex are limit baiting, or if you're a complete maniac, just go for it. There's no one to stop you on public servers at least. And the reason that I do say that the Cortex can possibly lose amnesites for accidentally killing a prole is entirely based on the karma system. And here's the weird thing about karma, it's not shown anywhere. It's a hidden mechanic. From what I've gathered and what I've seen on the wiki, everyone starts with 1,000 karma. Every time a prole or someone kills someone without any reason, their karma ticks down. Same goes for Cortex or neutrals who vandalize machinery or otherwise act out. So if you're gonna kill someone or beat them to death, make sure that they hit you first or push you. By doing that, you basically initiated PvP and drop below enough karma and you become fair game for anyone to kill you. They won't lose any amnesites.
I am a surgeon!
One time I stumbled into this by accident. There were bankers going around charging a 10% fee on deposits and withdrawals. And let's be honest, that's criminal in itself. Life in Aneurism 4 is already brutal enough. Plus there was only one other banker who had a 0% fee. So I thought I would do him a favor and take out the bankers with a 10% fee. I only managed to get one with 3 pickaxe swings to the head. And I didn't lose any amnesites, which tells me that the banker was already low enough in karma. So hey, maybe I did the city a favor by taking out a malicious banker, and hopefully the guy running around with the 0% fee picked up some extra business after the whole entire ordeal or assassination. And this system works both ways. If you've tanked your karma through random murders or destruction, the only way back up is by grinding out amnesites through legit work. I actually love this mechanic in the game. It's the one thing keeping bloodthirsty players from turning every server into a pointless slaughterhouse. Random killing gets punished, while justifiable actions get rewarded, even if they happen randomly. And if you're careless enough to dip into the negative amnesite range on top of bad karma, let's just say death won't be your biggest problem anymore.
Dude, let me tell you how much I've come to hate you since I began to live. There are 387.4.
That's pretty fucking cool.
Being a slave is what happens when you die with negative amnesites. And trust me, you don't want to end up here if you can help it. Earning those points back is a grind in the worst way. Almost every player has found out the hard way what it's like playing as a slave. Unless you're the type to do pacifist runs in Fallout.
Don't heal me! Look on me, daddy. Kill me.
Yeah! Who won the lottery? I did!
Visually, slaves look like something ripped out of Silent Hill 2. Grotesque, bound figures with their arms wrapped to their sides. Their punishment is simple and cruel. They push or pull boulders into a lava pit, gaining just 40% of an amnesite for each boulder. It's a little Sisyphus reference. So if you only lost 5 amnesites for a single kill, you won't be stuck too long, but rack up a depth of negative 35 amnesites by unloading an LMG into other Cortex, and you'll be down there for a long while. That's exactly what happened to me once. On a server, I ran into a limitator who was abusing the spirits, the weird skeletons you first spawn in as. They can teleport into different roles and only other spirits can see them. Normally they're harmless, but this limitator used a buddy while playing as a spirit to scout out Scum during a limitation order event, and then mowed them down. I overheard this limitator telling the other Cortex, saying stuff like, "Oh wow, I had this buddy of mine play as a spirit and scout out the Scum. He was our eyes in the sky," and I thought that was so cringe. It completely kill the cat and mouse vibe the game thrives on. So out of spite, I turned my gun on the Cortex. It landed me in slave hell, but honestly, it felt justified. I think I have like 200 hours on this game, so out of those 200 hours, I am going to crash out. The actual place you're imprisoned at if you are a slave is called the Volos Precinct. It's a Cortex slave camp, buried deep below the Nexus, and it's part of the main map, not some separate hell dimension like I first thought. 4 corner rooms spawn boulders at random, and if the place is packed with other slaves, it gets chaotic fast, with team killers and pro killers snatching boulders right out from under you. Since slaves can't use their arms, you can't stop anyone from stealing your progress. You're completely powerless down here, but there are ways out. There's a gate here where you can actually see the underground, where the Scum players are usually running around at, and sometimes just maybe you'll spot some Scum lurking, looking at you like you're some sort of caged animal, and if they have explosives, they can blast the bars open and free the slaves. What happens next is up to them or you. Sometimes they'll let you join them on the surface, or sometimes they'll toss you into the ritual pit, and if you're lucky to escape, you can even do real labor outside. From what I've read online, you can do laundry, crate stamping in the mines, shifts at the distillery, even arming IEDs. I've never seen a slave arm an IED, but I really want to try it. And if the Scum aren't rescuing you right now, they might be planning something bigger, like a vomit coffin raid on the surface.
I feel like a chub now. I'm gonna go post on Reddit.
If you've played Aneurism 4 long enough, you'll eventually run into one of the most and only infamous monsters in the game, the vomit coffin. If you're new and you're playing like for the first hour, you probably won't encounter it, but play long enough and you should see it. The Scum might spawn one just to create some panic on the surface, or it might be one of their aces leading a charge. However, if you are playing as a neutral role and you're carrying a lot of items that are valuable to you, and you don't want to lose them, make sure you run away from the vomit coffin. The vomit coffin is massive, the tallest character model in the game, and it comes with a huge health pool of 17,500 points. It can tank through LMG fire like it's nothing. The only trade-off is stamina. Once it's drained, the vomit coffin moves extremely slow. Other than that, you can use the stamina bar to dash pretty quick. The one time I got to play as a vomit coffin, I kinda learned quickly how it works in firefights, while being solo and having no Scum to back me up. I was hugging corners and then I'd dash out and vomit on Cortex players peeking over, and then I would run back into the corner, using it as cover, so timing dashes is everything. To actually vomit, you'll need to equip the mask icon from the tab menu, which unleashes a really disgusting and devastating spray on anyone in your way. Maybe the vomit comes from the rot, or maybe it's all that cigarette soup you've been eating. Interestingly enough, the name Vomit Coffin comes from a song by an Australian band, King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. That is an insane name to say 5 times fast. It also fits in pattern, with Aneurism 4's many music references, like the Crimson King liquor that can be made at the distillery, being a nod of course to one of the best bands in the world, King Crimson. That one particular reference is pretty easy to spot, just 2 of the words are flipped over on the other side. And to detrack a little bit, when you get a limitation, certain soundtracks play. One of them is called Dreams of Cheese, which is a reference to a piece of dialogue said by an NPC in Half-Life 2.
Sometimes I dream about cheese.
And now back to the vomit coffin. Mechanically, the vomit coffin doesn't belong to any faction. So if you accidentally vomit on a Scum player who's using you as a shield, you won't lose any amnesites for killing them on accident. The downside of playing as the vomit coffin, other than its stamina bar, is the HUD. It's absolutely awful. It is one of the most insane and just aneurysm-inducing UIs in any game. And the whole entire strategy of the Scum using a vomit coffin is to cause chaos. While the Cortex focuses on bringing down this grotesque bullet sponge, the Scum could either help the vomit coffin or cause havoc somewhere else. So how does a vomit coffin actually spawn? You'll need a malpractitioner, a corpseman who defected to the scum as their personal doctor. One of their many jobs could be crafting a festering serum, which is what transforms a slave into the coffin. And if you're curious, you can't flood a server with vomit coffins. Only one can exist at a time. Malpractitioners are basically evil scientists. While corpsemen upstairs deal with the usual surface level medicine and healing citizens, the malpractitioner thrives in the underground. This is applicable to all scum roles, but instead of searching through trash cans for crafting materials, you'll find hidden stashes, which are usually just satchels, pipes, or boxes scattered on the ground. These stashes could hold the usual crafting materials you'll need, but more importantly, they contain contraband, like materials you'll need to craft a gun or ammo, as well as pharma tools, which are key to the role of the malpractitioner. Pharma tools are special. They're not considered contraband unlike gunsmithing tools, which has led people to speculate that corpsemen may eventually be able to use them in a future update to craft non-contraband drugs. For example, instead of relying on making stimulant parcels at pharmaceuticals, maybe corpsemen one day will craft epinephrine directly. Honestly, that's an idea I would like to see be implemented in the game. When you're playing as anything other than a malpractitioner and you slap pharma tools on top of a crafting table, you create a pharma tools workbench, which gives you access to 2 new recipes. Now, I might pronounce this one wrong, but it's called Benadryl, which boosts damage resistance with no sanity drain. And then there's methadone or meth, which grants 10% in a speed boost, big damage resistance, and induces psychosis. Psychosis is a temporary effect that only lasts about 3 to 5 minutes and really tanks your sanity bar. Sanity itself drains over time and faster when you witness murders, but if you made it this far in this video, you probably already know that system. So if you want to have a clear UI, don't use any drugs, such as methadone, or don't get addicted to cigarettes or anything at all in this game, unless you have something like schizophrenia, which immediately ends psychosis and restores 100% of your sanity and can be bought at a farm distributor. So if you are gonna play as a scum, make sure you stock up on these and put them in your locker, because while typically playing as a Cortex or neutral role, you'll usually restore your sanity at the club. But you know, considering that there is no club underground, restoring your sanity as a scum is a bit more difficult. So the main advice I'll just give out is to stack up on schizophrenia and don't get a cigarette addiction, or you can usually try to make a club run during a wartime event. And oh man, do I sure get off topic a lot in this video. Anyways, to go back with the whole entire pharma tools, things get interesting when a malpractitioner has access to a pharma tools workbench. They unlock 2 exclusive recipes, that being a festering serum which turns slaves into the vomit coffin, and the other being laced consumables, which requires food like rations or drugs like epinephrine and mix it with the sewer soda. And now you have a laced consumable. Whenever somebody eats this item, they'll die. Well, that was a bit of an exaggeration. It only takes away 50 health points and gives you parasites for 50 minutes. And the best thing about laced items are that they look identical to their regular counterparts, so you can just leave a laced ration anywhere and someone will come across it and they'll think it's a normal ration, that is until they eat it. And I'll be honest, I haven't spent too much time on this role of a malpractitioner, mainly because the UI is horrible, and more so that I like playing as a zealot or a scumbag, just causing pure chaos. However, one thing you might notice while being in the underground is that you'll see some malpractitioners doing some farming. Not farming for amnesites, but literally farming. They're making rot shrooms. All they have to do is find cancer pods and plant them in soil-filled pots. Rot shrooms are a vital ingredient for both Benadryl and the festering serum, and you literally have to water the pods with your own blood. It is a bit metal, and watering the rot shrooms with your own blood does take a little bit of your own health. So the main reason you'll see malpractitioners doing this is because that their passive is health regeneration. Once harvested, rot shrooms are considered contraband, and any role can make them. So if you're playing as a pro role and decide to make an illegal drug business of rot shrooms, don't try strolling around in the surface with them in your pocket, because Cortex officers love to run random cavity searches.
Walter, put your dick away, Walter.
And if you do decide to risk it, or with any contraband at all, carry some epinephrine for a fast getaway. The festering serum requires 3 rot shrooms, which is why you'll often see malpractitioners tending little gardens in the underground. But that's only part of the recipe. You'll also need 3 suspicious meat, 2 organs, 2 machine trinkets, and 1 stolen circuitry. And if you're wondering what organs are, if you don't know already, they spawn in hidden stashes and basically act as a food source in the underground. So if you're starving, just look around in hidden stashes for a nice tree of organs. So actually making a festering serum and trying to spawn a vomit coffin takes some thinking.
Where's that factory? Run!
Let's pull back up for a moment. Up to this point, we've been looking at the Cortex's side of things.
Officer,
It's gonna happen, by the way.
You have a mosquito, officer. I need to swat it, officer. I need to swat the mosquito.
We did our patrols, earned amnesites, saw how corrupt the force could be, especially with limit baiting, and we maybe even ended up as a slave. But what happens when you had enough? When you stop playing along and decide to cause some havoc? That's when you take the life of crime, joining the Scum. And the cheapest way to join the Scum is by starting off as a runt, the scumbag. Like every role in this faction, your purpose is simple: destroy Cortex infrastructure, spark rebellion, and stay out of the public eye. Anytime you hit the surface, you've got to move fast. Like clearing out a Hotline Miami level, you'll gain amnesites for destroying machinery or killing Cortex members, but you get nothing for killing an innocent role. I'll be honest, I like this role a lot. Once you unlock cosmetics, scumbags are surprisingly drippy.
Get out and get stuck.
But mechanically they're fragile, only 125 health points, which makes them easy prey for limitators. That said, with good movement and precise aim, you can easily drop a Sanitar or a controller. There are 2 main ways to play as a scumbag, or really any scum role. There are always going to be strength in numbers. Wait for other scum to organize, or organize them yourself and raid the surface together. And then there's also hit and run tactics, or what a lot of people say online, rat tactics. Stock up on epinephrine and hemoblockers, dash upstairs, strike quick, and vanish before reinforcements arrive. Either way, charging onto the surface unarmed and solo is a death wish.
What the fuck?
So it's a really good reason, if you want to stay in the Scum faction for a while, to play extremely smart, because there are a lot of times when I'll craft a lung puncher or an AG, and the first thing that comes to my little lizard brain is to go out to the surface and kill. I think that I could take an army of Cortex, but it seems that every time I go out to the surface alone and on my death mission, there is an army of Cortex on my back. Which is why it's good to carry epinephrine for moving super fast and hemoblockers just in case you get shot. And how do you actually get a weapon for killing whatever you want to kill?
Hey, who are you? What are you doing here?
Give me no fucking revolver. High point is my problem solver. It was only $80 to
Everything you need for crafting and making weapons is located underground. No need to go to the surface, unless everything here is scavenged, and you really need an extra piece of wood or machine trinkets. And if a non-scum role like a banker or a dealer wanted to go to the underground, they'll need a hijacker. Which the reason why bankers or dealers come to the underground is to trade with the scumbags. It's a nice little friendship we have down here. And the underground itself is massive, split into 2 different main hubs, the catwalks and the bazaar. The catwalks are packed with exits leading into the ration factory, underground laundromat, an alleyway near the underground laundromat, and workshop. On the other side, the bazaar offers cheap shops for offloading loot or wanting to sell items. There's also a little metro that's hidden behind some crates, but it only connects to one way out, the wartime exit. At both the catwalks and the bazaar, you'll find a communal chest. Now this communal chest works like a locker, except that it's accessible to anybody. So let's say that you find 1 too many organs, and you don't know what to do with them. You can either eat them or save them for later, or if you're a nice little scum, you could add them to the communal chest for another scumbag or zealot or whatever role to use. It's really a mechanic of trust, because there can be some absolute douchebag that just takes all the items in the communal chest and decides to jump off a cliff near the catwalks, and boom, all the items are gone forever. I've played on some servers where there were people who were on the Cortex role and got a little heated that they were killed by a scum, so they would purchase the scumbag role, go to the communal chest, take all the items and kill themselves. This happens a lot of times. I feel like there should be some repercussions for doing this, like losing some amnesites or losing a decent amount of karma, because currently there's no repercussions, so people can just keep doing this over and over. I really don't know how you would track that the items are from the communal chest, but it's just a personal gripe I have with the game, because people just keep abusing this, and playing as a scum is already hard enough.
What the fuck? There's more of them, bro. More of them are coming.
Oh, fuck. Misfire, shit.
That's your fucking call. Oh, god damn it.
I'm trying to get my fucking light out. No. I was running on the catwalks when the server was lagging and I fucking died as a zealot.
Oh, that's genuinely so sad. Oh my god. But weren't you in the staircase?
Yeah, I was the one in the staircase.
Oh fuck, dude, I'm so sorry.
And anyway, back to the main hubs of the underground. Each exit has its own risks. The wartime exit is the most dangerous, sitting right next to the nexus with a camera that instantly alerts Cortex to your location. The ration factory is safer, being farther away from everything, though it's not uncommon to find some Cortex camping on some servers. And a good trick to know where exactly you are at is to set a waypoint to the ration factory or underground laundromat to know which exit you're closest to. If you're ever unsure, rely on the Scum exclusive radio. Other Scum players are usually helpful. After all, it's you and them against the world. And after getting settled in, the most important part comes into play right now, which is finding advanced gun parts or old gun parts. And don't forget to grab any gunpowder or ammo boxes too. You'll need both for crafting ammunition later, or if you want to get more extreme, IEDs.
Hi, welcome to Wendy's. What can I get started for you?
Run, fucking pussy, run to the next one. Yeah, he was fucking. Oh my god.
And to actually see what guns you can craft with your parts, you'll need to find a weapon workbench. They're easy to track down. There's one on the catwalks and one near the wartime exit. And there's also another one in the obelisk area, the area with the blood red fountain where you can drink water from. If your moisture bar is ever running low, you'll also see the Zealot upgrade, which is only accessible by scumbag roles. For crafting weapons, I'll just stick to the ones that I know and use the most. The Lung Puncher, the Director's Death, and my personal favorite, the AG42B. Starting off with the AG42B, or just to say it simple, AG. It's incredibly satisfying if you land a clean headshot. Body shots only do 65 damage, but landing a headshot on a controller, a Sanitar, or a Prol will instantly drop them.
No controllers and more.
And if you're going to attempt to take out a limitator with an AG, you'll need at least 3 headshots. One of the best things to do with an AG is to be right by the underground laundromat. Here you can peek out over the little corner wall and just headshot proles. Somebody took the Zealot's gun. Holy shit. Somebody took the Zealot's gun. Somebody took the Zealot's gun, dude. Run.
Active shooter in the building. You're lucky I'm a bad shot. Actually, I think I was pretty good. I killed like 70 people.
Yeah, I saw that, dude. You're dropping bodies. It was fucking hilarious. Oh, fuck, I'm out of this. Oh, shit. Yo, okay. Peace. Holy shit, dude. I used the bandage. God damn, dude. You too, man. You fucking shot so many people. Or if you're moving in a group, you could stay back with the AG, while in front of the group are people with shotguns, and just focus on one target and you'll probably take him out. Gunfire in this game is really challenging to me. 1, because I have really bad aim, and 2, from a distance it's really hard to make out what exactly target you're aiming at. So before you fire an AG headshot, make sure to radio out to any scum if they are in the location you're aiming at. And next up we have the Director's Death. Basically a sawn-off shotgun that shreds targets up close.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
If all pellets land, you can deal a brutal 125 damage in a single blast. It's also one of the easiest weapons to craft, requiring just 1 wood, 1 old gun part, and 2 machine trinkets. My favorite part about the Director's Death is just aiming at a prole, and as soon as you fire 1 shot up close, he's instantly down. However, you won't be able to take down a controller or a limitator in a single shot, as the controller has 150 health, while the limitator has 325. But if you do manage to hit all pellets on a Sanitar, you'll be able to take him down instantly, as they only have 125 health. Finally, the Lung Puncher, an automatic shotgun with terrible accuracy, but devastating power up close.
It's broke.
It deals 78 damage if all pellets hit, and with a 12 round magazine you can clear a room pretty fast. That is, if you hit all your shots. However, considering headshots are more critical and deadly, you only need 1 shot from the Lung Puncher to proles, Sanitars, and controllers to take them out instantly.
My number is pound 1.
Oh no, wait.
In limitators you only need 2, to the head, and the Lung Puncher itself is perfect for drive-bys or ambushes, especially in really narrow places. The only downside to the Lung Puncher is of course its accuracy and the fact that it burns through ammo like crazy if you're not careful. With each craft of a 12 gauge ammo, it gives you 25 shells, and the gun itself uses a 12 round magazine, so you need to keep an eye on your reserves. The Lung Puncher also takes a little more effort to make: 3 steel plates, an advanced gun part, a metal trinket, and 1 glue. And I'm sorry to all the Tantalizer fans, the Kidney Splinter fans, or even the Evil Gun fans. I really need to try those guns out. I'm really just a sucker for the AG. And if you're actually wondering where to get steel plates or axles underground, the process is much simpler than it is on the top side, mostly by the fact that there isn't any proles around to steal your hard work. You can start by heading to the coal pit in the center of the underground map, where you'll mine at least 4 pieces of coal. Even if you don't have a pickaxe handy, hidden stashes often contain pipes you can use to mine instead. And the next part is searching through hidden stashes for scrap metal. And then you'll also need fuel. Near the catwalk sits a refinery, where you can fill up a jerry can. If it's empty, drop in an organ or a cancer pod. And once you've collected coal, scrap, and fuel, make your way toward the wartime exit, where you'll find the Scum's personal forge and processing machines to make steel plates and axles. And the best part is that you even earn some amnesites for doing this. And if you need any other machine trinkets or auto glue to build your weapon, you can also check the metro near the wartime exit. And did you know, in an earlier build of Aneurism 4, trains actually ran through the city, but there were bugs like rubber banding, which caused players snapping back to a previous location constantly, and that's what caused the whole entire feature of the trains being removed. But hey, hopefully in the new map update, we can see this feature being added back into the game. And now for a personal little note from myself. So previously in this video we went over certain exploitations, or things that made the game super unfun, like players who limit bait, players who steal stuff out of the communal chest, or limitators who became a little salty after being killed and just decided to shoot up the underground scum. Those things honestly make the game really unfun to play and made me lose a little bit of interest for making this video and even playing the game. I've even seen an influx of cheaters, but I think this game really needs some touching up, because this game can be really fun at times, especially with an organized group of scum.
Someone's gonna screenshot us.
I need a malfrac. I'm heading up. I'm heading back to my
However, things with people coming back as a scumbag after being killed and deciding to ruin the experience for every scum is literally miserable. I was initially going to make this video into 2 parts, but we're already so deep into this. So for the next few minutes of this video before it ends, we'll be talking about the other scum roles I haven't mentioned. And yeah, make sure to like and subscribe. After a successful raid with other scum as a scumbag, with zealots, rogues, and malpracs, you might get some exciting news from the zealots. They've got got enough suspicious meat to consecrate you, allowing you to advance in your career as an anarchist and join them as religious fanatics of the rot. And to complete a consecration, you or the zealot performing it need to consume 5 suspicious meats.
Wow, that is delicious. Finally, some good fucking food.
Which is basically meat stripped from pearl bones. You can do this with any sharp object, pickaxes, knives, or a screwdriver, or with the zealot exclusive ritual axe. This weapon is very versatile. It breaks machines quickly, mines metal ore or coal, but its main purpose is violence and skinning. Once the 5 pieces of suspicious meat are consumed, head to one of the 2 ritual pits, one near the catwalks and the other near the wartime exit. Zealots can only perform consecrations at these locations, and if it's quiet enough, you'll hear demonic chanting. It's pretty spooky. And in the center of this ritual room, you'll see a totem with the cult symbol. This becomes your place of worship, where you'll offer sacrifices to the rot. And after you make 10 sacrifices with any corpses, you'll initiate the darkness event. But we'll save that for a little later. And as a zealot, your main goal is simple: spread the rot as much as possible. Everything a scumbag does to earn amnesites, such as breaking machinery, you can do too for amnesites, but the zealot comes with some nice perks. Or if you don't want to be consecrated as a scumbag, you can also purchase the zealot upgrade for only 10 amnesites. One of the biggest advantages of the zealot is how easy it is to gain amnesites. Returning to the ritual pit to offer sacrifices to the rot, you drop corpses of any kind, even fallen comrades, which gives 80% of 1 amnesite per body, and if there are any other zealots nearby, everyone benefits. So having 5 zealots around while you drop a body means the whole group profits. The scum are surprisingly friendly compared to the surface dwellers, and the zealot UI tracks how much meat you've eaten, letting you see how close you are to consecrating another scumbag, or really any role. If you decide to consecrate any other role besides the scumbag, they'll just turn into another zealot. The cult symbol itself doubles as a progress bar for the server's current rot level. As it fills with green, the rot spreads further. Zealots also have 225 health, which isn't limited or level tanky, but still makes the zealot role sturdier than most other fates in Aneurism 4. And the last friendly face you'll meet in the underground is the rogue, a controller who has chosen to join the scum and fight against the system. Becoming a rogue is probably the trickiest part. You have to travel through the stairs to the underground, announce your intentions to join the scum, and hope they don't shoot you on sight. Then you wait at the gate's entrance for a friendly scum to open it, and radio over to their fellow scum that a controller is approaching, or they themselves can escort you to the armory to pay for the rogue upgrade, which is only 6 amnesites. Rogues look exactly like their surface counterparts, but corrupted by the rot. They have a broken lens in one helmet eye and white armbands on both arms. These details are essential for distinguishing friendly rogues from hostile controllers, especially during tense surface raids. Their eye also glows green, so always watch out for those features and confirm via radio if you're unsure. One of the rogue's biggest advantages is the armory access in the underground. Now captured by the scum, here rogues can withdraw ammo crates at will for their starting pistol or any crafted weapon, the AG, lung puncher, director's death, and more, making scavenging around for gunpowder and old ammo boxes nearly unnecessary. The ammo crate stays in your inventory while you play as a rogue, so you can't give it to your other scum. I don't have much time playing as a rogue, but if you rank up by earning amnesites, you can unlock additional weapons and combat consumables such as the combat juice. This makes the rogue ideal for players who want constant ammo and firepower without the grind of crafting weapons from scratch, unless you really want to use a lung puncher. And considering how you basically have infinite ammo from the armory, you could be absolutely deadly with the lung puncher. And now that we covered mostly everything, it's time to rot the server. You might have noticed that during surface rampages, the rot level increases slightly. Every mindless murder of pearls, leaving corpses to decay, and every liquidator or sanitar you take out contributes to the rot, since they can no longer burn cancer growths that also add to the server's rot level if left unattended. But you'll also notice that after a while, the rot naturally decreases, even if you're doing everything you can to spread it. To truly truly maximize the rot on the server, you'll need to destroy some neurostabilizers, which filter the rot. Destroying one or a few is the key to keeping the rot rising and ensuring your efforts have a lasting impact. There are 4 neurostabilizers on the map of Aneurism 4, one in Proud Workers Square near the Ration Factory, 2 in Mayland Plaza, with one closer to the casino and another near the Civil Center, and the final one near the wartime area. Neurostabilizers filter out the rot and detect its levels, making them prime targets for any scum, but you can't just mindlessly hit them. They require explosives to destroy. I mentioned IEDs earlier. They're crafted from a grocery list of materials: 1 stolen circuitry, 2 gunpowder, 1 machine trinket, and 3 plastic. The hardest part is usually to find the stolen circuitry. However, once crafted, you can place the IED, arm it, and it has a 15-second timer before detonating. Placing it back in your inventory disarms it and resets the timer. So you'll have to arm it and then grab it and then run in the direction you want to explode in. I've seen some hilarious moments where scum hand IEDs to proles for sewer slide bombings.
Bad bombing your wartime factory! Run!
What the fuck?
Must have been the wind.
Watching the chaos unfold as everyone explodes at once is quite a sight, and for massive explosions there's the rot bomb, made from a stolen warhead core. During wartime, scum can steal these cores, or proles that support the rot can take the warhead core near the wartime exit and hand it off to a scum, then craft the bomb using the stolen warhead core, 2 gunpowder, 2 machine trinkets, and the stolen circuitry. The rot bomb has a 60-second timer and a massive blast radius, capable of wiping out dozens of players.
Where did he go with it?
And now that you got a few IEDs and a few rot bombs, and a good chunk of scum players that are fully armed, and make sure to have a few malpracs, and now you're fully ready to rot the server. Now would be a good time to sacrifice 10 corpses to trigger the darkness event, where all citizens on the surface are free to kill anyone without losing amnesites. This even includes Cortex killing proles. This is perfect for maximizing chaos, planting explosives while everyone else is distracted. And if the scum are more organized on the server that you're playing on, you can even get a vomit coffin. When a neurostabilizer goes down, one thing I rarely see is scum defending the broken one, making sure no liquidator or senator repairs it to stop the rot. With enough heavily armed scum and explosives for each neurostabilizer, you can easily rot the server. Just make sure to communicate effectively over the radio. Random chatter can be funny, but clear comms make success possible.
That is true.
I don't think he appreciated my criticism.
You might get taken out by a limitator, but with numbers on your side, the Cortex will be overwhelmed, especially with a vomit coffin in the mix. Experiencing this for the first time in my hours of play was absolutely insane. It felt like a real community effort.
Oh yeah, boys, just kill everyone. Yeah, we're actually running the server. Look at the round bracket now.
Wait, I have a shot and I don't want it to run.
My name's here, my pick up the game.
You know who you're dealing with?
Damn, I just want to leave y'all. Eddie,
I wish to become rogue.
Look at the suicide bomber. Look at the loot. Oh, GG! Got it. Yeah! I'm sorry. That was
Shit.
Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah.
Fucking epic.
I'll see you guys in the mines.
A violent party where everyone came together. On that server, Cortex were limit baiting, and Proles along with other roles had grown tired of it, looking toward the Scum as their saviors, and it worked out perfectly. And once the rot level does hit 100%, a notification pops up announcing that Aneurism 4 is on the brink of rotting. The few remaining Cortex now only have 50 minutes to bring the rot back under 95%, or the server undergoes a full reset. Everything resets: credits, shops, ammo sites, your lockers, all of it. And sometimes the server might reset when you're not even playing the game. You might log off the day before, and the next day you come back, everything is gone. This happened to me while making this video, and everything I had prepared for clips was gone. So I have no idea what supplemental videos I'll be playing. Players might get upset, sure, but there's some satisfying appeal in this. Servers do get stale, and seeing the same limit baiting officer over and over can get tiresome. Resetting it as a Scum gives a sense of power and renewal through, of course, one of the best parts of the game, through community efforts. In my first Aneurism 4 video, I hated the idea of server resets, and now I love it. It's the ultimate community driven chaos, and when done right, it's one of the best moments you might have in gaming. But wait, this video isn't entirely over just yet. I want to quickly go over a few things I missed and share some secrets. For example, how could I skip over as something as valuable as Jankum? According to the wiki, it's literally human waste, but more importantly, it's the Scum's equivalent of combat juice, and all you need is a bottle and a toilet. Sounds like a really good time. You could either find the toilets at the club, the bathrooms near the wartime factory, or even the apartments in the industrial sector above the underground laundromat. Just place an empty bottle in the toilet and boom, you've got a fermenting Jankum bottle. It takes about 7 minutes to fully ferment, and then you could either huff it or sell it in a smuggler's vent since it's contraband. This is also a great way to farm amnesites if you're playing as a Cortex, since confiscating contraband gives you 20% toward an amnesite. Just make sure other Cortex aren't around to catch your side hustle. Jankum gives a ton of buffs, damage resistance, infinite stamina, and a minor speed boost, and the effects last for 2 minutes, making it perfect for surface runs as a Scum. One more thing though, it can cause psychosis, so with every huff you're basically gambling with your sanity. And the last tip I'll throw in is about making money. This one's mostly for Cortex players, with full armory access after reaching rank 4. Grab 2 combat juices from both of the armories in the Nexus, then rush to any smuggler's vent, ideally one selling Skull Sterling for 10 credits. Buy the Skull Sterling, and if the vent price doesn't change, drop in the combat juice until it does. The selling price of Skull Sterling depends on the server's rot level. The higher the rot, the more money you can make, and dropping contraband like combat juice makes the price fluctuate randomly. And if I didn't mention before, don't worry about being searched if you're a Cortex carrying combat juice, you're safe. I've done this method a few times to make a decent amount of money pretty quickly.
That is true.
I don't think he appreciated my criticism. I talked to your higher ups. Okay, I complained about this one because he killed me for no good reason. I was just trying to eat.
There are any left.
I think I was done complaining. Okay, I'm sick of you motherfuckers coming onto the streets, doing all this bullshit.
Do we go door kicking or what?
And, hey, you motherfuckers, I'm not done complaining. You don't know how good I am. I'll continue this shit until I get bored.
Okay,
right,
let's hear it, let's hear it. I'll hear you out. Oh shit.
I'm so sick of you motherfuckers, okay? Shit, you fucking hippies. Yeah, I'm not done, bitch. I'm not done. I'll keep Hey, you motherfuckers.
And now that we're at the end of this video, I want to congratulate and thank anyone who's made it this far. Aneurism 4, as we know, is a really grotesque game, as I said in the intro, both in its players and the environment. One of the worst things about Aneurism 4 is the cheaters and people who like to exploit glitches, which is one of the reasons this video took so long to make. I don't know, just those two things made me lose interest in making this video, but there are a lot of great experiences I have with players. You know, you can meet some really great people in this game, and then you can meet people who just spew the most random nonsense. But of course, the main thing that keeps me coming back to Aneurism 4 is the player interaction. It's just really cool. You could basically use this game as a hangout or to push a rebellion propaganda of the rot. And there's something satisfying about mowing down bankers who have 99% fees during the Darkness event. And before I get way too off topic, there are some things I want to talk about for the month of October. If you checked out the other videos on my channel, you'll know that the most successful one is the crossed video, which I think has 60k views, and that's literally insane for my YouTube channel. Honestly, I should have been more focused on making more crossed content while the hype is still there. However, there were people from my previous Aneurism 4 video that wanted more Aneurism content, so I decided that this one would be my last one for quite a while, at least until the map update comes out, which is pretty soon, which is why I wanted to get this video out as soon as possible. So for the month of October, I do have some crossed videos planned, since of course it's spooky season, and I really want to cover more short horror films like I did previously with The Stranger Thing About the Johnsons. So yeah, that's what's planned for the month of October and November, until I find another game that I really like and I'm hyper fixated on to make another hour-long video on. And if you did want more Aneurism 4 content, I'll be streaming that game sometimes. Just make sure to look out for those posts that I'll be posting on YouTube announcing that I'll be streaming Aneurism 4. And with that being said, this is Keen, and I really hope you enjoyed this video. I put a lot of heart into it and a lot of editing, and I hope you subscribe and like for more content. I'll see you all later.
I need someone to help me, I'm living in hell. I wish I was more healthy and I help myself. I need someone around me, I wanna do well. I might go place a bounty on my fucking self. I really hate to be a pessimist with you. I just really expect you to be rude. I need to spend some time.
Hey, you motherfuckers.